I just don't think it was for me. These people all have a lot of money, so it's just like a lot of rich people problems, I feel. I could not. All I was picturing was Talon from ACOTAR, and it was so hard for me to like him. Can this much bad stuff happen to this group of people? Literally one of my new favorite books. I am obsessed with it. I can't stop thinking about it. I literally already want to reread it. Hello beautiful people, my name is Dinah. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Alright, so today's video I'm really excited because it's going to be my April reading wrap up, which time is going by way too fast because I don't know how it's already May. I'm not complaining though, the weather is beautiful. I'm all about the 70s and that is exactly how the weather is now, and I'm loving it so much. I honestly had an amazing reading month. I found 3 new 5-star reads, which is like crazy to me in 1 month because usually I'm happy if I get 1 5-star book in 1 month. Okay, let's get started with these books. So the first book I read is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. The cover is the cutest thing ever, and honestly this book was adorable. I just finished it recently. Pretty much what this book is about is we have Emmy who she was a horse rider. She competed in these competitions and stuff, and something happened and she got thrown from her horse, and she was scared to compete and she moved back home. And when she moved back home, she saw Luke, who was this guy, kind of a family best friends with her brothers, and she sees him, and at first, like, you kind of get the impression that they did not like each other, but obviously as this book progresses that changes a little bit. He works at their farm, so she sees him a lot. There's some forced proximity there, brother's best friend, and it was just a fun read overall. I rated it 3.5 star just because I felt like it was so short where it was hard for me to like gain that connection with these characters just because of how quickly it was moving, and we didn't get too much backstory on them, which I wish we did. So it's just kind of hard for me to have a connection with them. But if you're looking for like a super quick, easy, like cute read, this is the one for you. It was adorable. I'm still gonna read the second book, but it just like I just didn't have that connection with the characters that I wish I had. But other than that, it was exactly what I was looking for. I was just looking for something cute and fluffy, and that's exactly what this was. So that was Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. Alright, next book I read was Too Late by Colleen Hoover. If you guys watched my April reading vlog, you definitely saw this one in there. I rated this one a 2.5 star. I just don't think it was for me. It was very different than what I usually read, a little bit darker, and I didn't rate it that low because of like the dark aspect. I just thought that it was like some parts were so unnecessarily dark. Like I felt like she was just trying to like have as much trauma happen in this book as possible. And it was a lot. Pretty much this book follows Salone, and she is with this horrible guy. He's like the top drug dealer in this area, and there's just a lot of like bad stuff he's involved with. He's involved with bad people, and she's kind of in the middle of it. And pretty much what happens is this new guy joins their group, and he ends up being an undercover cop, and nobody knows this, and some feelings start getting shared between Salone and this new guy, and it just turns into a hot mess. And the ending was very anticlimactic to me. I really thought something else was going to happen, and I just felt like the ending was dragged out forever, and then the way it ended, I was like, well, that was kind of lame. That's just how I felt about it. It was definitely like an entertaining read. I kept wanting to pick it up, and I read it pretty quick, and I mean, it's a decent sized book. It just felt kind of choppy, and just some of the parts were very unnecessary to me, but yeah, that's how I felt about this one. This was my second book of the month. Then I read Home Run Proposal by Maren Moore. I love Maren Moore's writing. Her writing is so fun and fluffy, and just like, I find myself smiling throughout all her books. Maren's spice is unmatched in my opinion, and this was adorable. I did read this one for the book vlog as well, so if you haven't watched that video, go check it out. I did feel like this one was a little bit overly spicy, where like it was getting repetitive and I was like, okay, where's the plot? Pretty much this book is about Haley, who she's never been kissed, never had a boyfriend. She's like new to the whole dating life, and she wants to make a bet with her best friend Eli that, you know, he could kind of be her first everything. And instead she gives it to the wrong brother. She gives it to Lane, who is Eli's older brother. And she's kind of had a crush on him forever. He agrees to this, and pretty much the book goes from there. It was adorable. I love the banter that she puts in her books, and this series is so fun. Catching Feelings is definitely my favorite. That book was adorable. But this one was really cute too, and the ending was so perfect. The ending like saved the book for me, just because like I was getting tired of the spice and everything, but the ending was so cute, and I definitely recommend this series. And the third one is coming out this summer, and the covers are adorable. Then I read Daisy Hates by Jesta Hastings. I love the art covers. I know not everyone likes them. I do. Also, I feel like these books you have to annotate because there are so many good quotes. If you like very like poetic writing, I would definitely recommend Jessa's books because her writing is so beautiful. So this book follows Daisy. So this is the second book in the Magnolia Park series. The first one is Magnolia's story, and this one's Daisy's, and it does follow the same timeline as the first Magnolia Parks. Pretty much this one is about Daisy Hates, and she is the younger sister to Julian Hates, who is like a gang lord, and he's very powerful, he has a lot of money, he does a lot of illegal stuff, so obviously people are after her to try to get to him. And it's just kind of about her life and how all she wants to do is be normal, but she has bodyguards and people trying to kill her, and there's just a lot of drama. These books are literally like Gossip Girl in a book. There's so much drama about cheating and who's with who and just like all that stuff. These people all have a lot of money, so it's just like a lot of rich people problems, I feel like. For some reason they are so addicting, and not anything too crazy happens. The ending of this book was crazy, but for some reason I just cannot put these books down. I rated this one a 4-star because I enjoyed it. It's fun, even though it's like totally different than any other book, I feel like, but if you loved the show Gossip Girl, you would love these books. And I cannot wait to start Magnolia Parks' second book very soon. Okay, then I read The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This was my first historical fiction book in a while. It is based on true events, which I just think is crazy. This was one of my 5-star reads for this month. I absolutely loved it. It is so emotional and so heartbreaking. It takes place during World War II, and you get the point of views of two sisters. One of the sisters is Vienne, and she has a daughter during this time, and she definitely at the beginning of the book wants to follow like the German and Nazis rules more. She doesn't want to get killed, obviously. And then you have Isabel, who's her younger sister, who is all about breaking the rules, standing up for France and standing up for her country. And by the end of the book you realize how both these female characters are so strong, and it kind of gives you the side of war that females dealt with, because I feel like when you hear about war, a lot of the times you think about, you know, men fighting at the lines and stuff like that. But this shows how much women went through during times of war, and it was just so eye-opening to me. It was such a heartbreaking book, but also like so inspiring. I was so inspired after I finished this book. I just think it is so admirable how brave they were, and it was just a very inspiring book for me, and I'm definitely going to be reading more of her books. I'm planning to read The Great Alone this month, and I know it's gonna break my heart, but this was so beautiful, so I'm so excited to read the other book. Okay, then I read Love Lessons by Katie Catewood. I read her first book last year, which was called Lessons Learned, and this was the second book in the series. So pretty much this book follows Kendall, who just got out of a relationship, and she's like tired of dealing with all these people, so she kind of just wants to have like a few casual hookups and stuff like that. She's on Tinder, and she's also a kindergarten teacher, and she's been messaging this one guy on Tinder a lot, and they kind of have like a thing going, and his name is Mason. And pretty much what happens is on the first day of her new kindergarten year, she realizes that she is the kindergartner teacher to this guy's daughter, and their relationship kind of goes from there. Obviously, they have to be more careful because she is her teacher, but they definitely have like a lot of chemistry and stuff. And she also refers to Mason quite a few times as Tamlin, and I could not. All I was picturing was Tamlin from ACOTAR, and it was so hard for me to like him because that's all I was picturing. Which I thought was super funny because he does kind of remind me of a Tamlin. But honestly, this was so cute, and his daughter was adorable. I loved all her little points throughout the book, and if you're just looking for like a fluffy teacher romance with some spice in it, I would totally recommend her books. And also, they are such pretty covers. The first one was like a hot pink, and this is a pretty lavender color, and I'm obsessed. They're so pretty. Alright, now we're gonna talk about me finishing the Boys of Tommen series. So I started this month by reading Saving Six. It is on my reading vlog if you guys are interested. I rated this one a 3.5 star. I feel like this was probably her lightest book out of all of them because this one definitely had the most like romancy chapters. This is Joey and Aoife's first book, and this follows them when they're pretty young. I want to say this starts with maybe them in like 6th grade, and it goes all the way until they're in high school. I think this book covers like 5-ish years of them first meeting and liking each other and getting to know each other, and it was really cute. I did rate it 3.5 stars just because I felt like time was passing super quick, and I would love for it to be as long as some of her other books were and just get all of the little stories we could of them because I love them as a couple. They are literally the cutest, and also I missed like Johnny and Gypsy and all of them in this book. This book was pretty much just Joey and Aoife, and we got a little bit of Shannon at some parts, but it was very heavy on just Joey and Aoife and them meeting each other and forming their connection, and it was adorable. I love them so much as a couple. So as soon as I finished that one, I jumped right into Redeeming Six, which is their second story. And this book was exactly how I wanted the first book to be, just because it had so much more detail, it covered so much more things. This kind of covered, I want to say, like half of Binding 13 and Keeping 13. It happens at the same time that those books do, so obviously we get some traumatic stories from Joey's POV, and it just broke my heart. This was a 5-star book for me, and it was very hard to read at some points. For some reason, this was almost harder, Joey's point of view, than Shannon's. And I really didn't think anything could break my heart more than Shannon's book did, but Joey's point of view definitely did. I was sobbing for him, and it was so hard to listen to a second time just because I knew what was going to happen, and it was just so heartbreaking. But I love Joey and Aoife. I love everything they went through, and I love them as a couple. They're definitely one of my favorite couples of all time. Same with Johnny and Shannon. This series has such a special place in my heart. So I ended up finishing both those books right in time for Gypsy's book to come out, which was Taming 7, and this was like probably one of my most anticipated reads of the year because I loved Gypsy so much. That's all I could think about while I was reading the other books of the series was getting his book, him and Claire. They are perfect, and this book fell a little flat for me. I rated this one 3.5 star, and it's not at all because of them as a couple, because I love them as a couple. The story just felt so rushed and quick, and I really thought it was going to be about Gypsy working through his past and some of the trauma he has with certain family members drowning, and it gets mentioned in maybe like the first 20% of the book, and Claire is kind of helping him get over his fear of water, and then we find something else out that happened to Gypsy, and the whole trauma with going in water and going near water is just totally forgotten and never mentioned again, and I couldn't get over that. I was really thinking this book was going to be something else, and instead something else was added that happened to Gypsy that I felt was just kind of like unneeded. I felt like sometimes I feel like, can this much bad stuff happen to this group of people? Because literally so many horrible things happened to them, and just more horrible things kept coming out in this book when I thought it was going to be different, and I was just a little disappointed by it. I wanted more Gipsy and Claire moments, and this book ended right when they got together pretty much, and that's all I wanted. I just wanted to see them together. If I knew we were getting a second book from their point of views, I would be happy. I would think this would be a perfect book to set up a second book, but she already said this is going to be their only book. So, I don't know. I was a little disappointed. Izzy was pissing me off during this book, and I'm pretty sure hers is gonna be the next book, and like at this point I don't even care. Like, she was being so annoying throughout this entire book, and I was just getting so frustrated with her as a character, and yeah, it was just, I would love to hear if anyone else has read this, what their thoughts were, because I was very disappointed, but I think that's also because my expectations were so high, and I wanted all the Claire and Gipsy moments that we could get, and it just fell a little short for me. Alright, you guys, this last book that I read is literally one of my new favorite books. I am obsessed with it. I can't stop thinking about it. I literally already want to reread it, and that is The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex Harrow. Also, the cover is so gorgeous. This book was a total surprise for me. I picked this one in my random TBR jar video, and I honestly would not have picked it up if it wasn't for that video, and I am just so obsessed with this book. This book was so amazing. It was 5 stars, 500 stars. It was so good. I went in completely blind, so honestly, I'm not gonna say too much about it because if you guys want to read it, I would totally recommend to go in blind. Know that there is definitely some like fantasy elements in this book. It takes place in the human world for the most part, but there is magic and stuff like that going on, and I would say it is a love story, and like I said in my other video, it's a love story about how people who truly love each other would go through worlds and climb through doors and climb mountains and sail across oceans to find the person that they love, and it was just everything to me. Literally, this book was everything. I'm obsessed with it. I'm planning to read other stuff by her because her writing was so beautiful and poetic, and just there's so many amazing quotes in here, and I cannot stress enough to read this book because it seriously was amazing, and I cannot wait for my reread because it was just the most beautiful book ever, and I loved it. I really loved it so much. Okay, you guys, that is it. That is the 10 books that I read in April. It was honestly a great reading month for me. I found 3 new 5 stars, so you can't ask for much better than that. I'm super excited for this month. I have some amazing videos planned, also some great books that I am very excited to finally be reading. So yeah, comment down below what kind of videos you guys like. I'm super interested to see what kind of videos you guys like watching, what videos you want me to do. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and that way I can get some ideas too. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you could like the video and subscribe to my channel if you're not, it would mean the world to me, and I will be back next Friday with another video. Bye!